Welcome to the Reselling Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're on episode 156.
Yeah.
An update episode.
Yeah, it's an update episode, which is super exciting because update episodes are pretty awesome. And
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And, all, at least for me personally, some pretty good stuff. So, it's always exciting to be able to talk about that.
At least as things are going well for one. It's going well for me too, but wouldn't it be tragic if we had one and everything was just bad?
I mean, that's life. Even in the podcast, there's times where it's like, hey, things are rough in reselling or in personal life, and then things are better. It's an up and down. It's part of life, and I think that's part of being real.
But it's been a while. I mean, we, and what's crazy is we're saying that through a pandemic, through turmoil in our country, but overall, I think it's one of those things. If you stay focused on what you're doing and you keep the course, I think you still find that satisfying, right? I mean, there's so many things that can get in the way of your business too, right? Because, and we're going to talk about this in our summer slowdown episode coming up.
Ooh.
Or
next week. Is
summer slowdown a myth episode?
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you okay with that title for the next episode?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
It's already summer, right?
Summertime.
Is it summer though?
And the living.
Or is June 21? Isn't like the solstice have to happen?
I don't know. I mean, to me, officially it's summer, and this is going to kind of be my update because, today was my last day at school. I turned in my keys for the day, or for the summer, and I'm done. No more going on campus. No more answering emails. Like, I am done. And the reason that's, I guess, kind of resale related is the nice thing about being a teacher is for the summer I get to step into kind of being full time, right? Because even with the distance learning, I feel like a lot of my stress was reduced to an extent. Like, I didn't have as much of a commute. I had more hours available for other things, but couldn't source, right? So, and now I'm at a place where I've got the summer, I can source, I can list, I don't have another job hanging over my head. And, it's one of those things, I feel like I've got my feet in both worlds. Like, I can empathize with people who have a 9-to-5, they're working and they're trying to spend their weekends, they're spending their evenings hustling, and that's on top of something else. But then I also can kind of occasionally experience what it's like to say, all right, for a week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks or however long I want to spend of this, I'm going to go as if this is a full-time job and I don't have another job hanging over my head. So I kind of have that unique experience, which is pretty awesome. And I'm excited to have this summer and kind of see how things go. Last summer was still relatively new to reselling, right? Like things were, I was learning things. I was more experienced than I was when we first started. But now going on, I guess technically this is like my third summer of reselling.
Is it?
Yeah.
1, 2. No, it's only your. Yeah,
no,
it is.
It's my third summer.
We started the podcast. We're about to hit our 2-year anniversary here at the podcast.
So, I mean, it's kind of cool to go into this third year with more experience, more under my belt. And, in the past, I've taught summer school, or I've done other things for school, and I've still had that over my head. Whereas this year, I'm a free agent. I'm good to go.
And it's really strange. I mean, I will say the one sad part about this is there's no eBay open. I'll keep saying that. But again, we couldn't even. Well, we could. I mean, now things are kind of mellowing out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You don't think so? As far as
no, there's still not going to be
pandemic.
Yeah, but there's still not going to be any giant gatherings of people.
I don't know, man. There's that latest report. Do we need to talk about this? Where it was like, we don't know if asymptomatic spread happens.
Yeah, no.
Like, what?
Yeah, I saw that too, or that it was rare. I don't know. I mean,
we don't need to get into that, but I thought about that, and I'm like, okay, well, hopefully that's true, and then we can, get to have a meetup again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, eBay Open as it was already canceled prior to this, so it's not like that was what was holding this up. But
we had a PHP meetup that we had to cancel.
Yeah, and that's a bummer, and I'm sure a lot of people were bummed and upset about that. But it was I feel like we canceled it right before it was kind of mandatory to cancel all of those
what
things.
was weird though is we kind of felt like I felt like we were going too far by canceling it. And then in retrospect, it's like, okay, we made the right call.
Yeah, well, like 2 days later, all of the store or the restaurants were closed, so we couldn't have done it anyway. So
yeah, so
but yeah, I mean, it is sad to go somewhere, I guess, without eBay Open. But again, we've got to, I think, have the perspective that majority of our listeners aren't going to eBay Open. It is great to be able to meet the handful that do, but there's so many people out there who wouldn't have gone to eBay Open anyways. And so how do we make the best out of a summer, without those opportunities available? And, we'll talk about that more on our next episode next Wednesday.
Nice. And I'm also we still have a bunch of eBay swag in storage that eBay sent us right before. So, I mean, technically, could we wear that eBay swag every day now? Sure. But, it wasn't given to us for us to personally use. All right. Aside from anything else going on with you lately?
No, I mean, that's kind of the big thing is it's hard to focus on. It's hard to be all in two areas. Right. And so even with as much as I've been able to focus on reselling during the quarantine time, the stay at home, this is going to be a game changer, right? So this week is my 9-year anniversary, my 9-year wedding anniversary. Congrats. So we're going to celebrate that. And so there's just a lot of really good things in the summer. My birthday is coming up. So summer is like a good time for me. Like I love the summer so much. And so, I'm excited to see, I think next update episode, I'll be able to talk more into like, all right, how has it been going more, full tilt into reselling in the summer? But for now, I'm in that transition phase where it's like literally today I turned in my keys, came here and set up to record the podcast. And so my brain hasn't made the full switch yet, but I'm ready to go home and just breathe a sigh of relief.
And I think you'll enjoy it this summer more than last summer because you know a lot more, right? I mean, I've shared before when I would do those full-time experiments, like during a Christmas break or something when I was teaching. And the first 2 were miserable because I couldn't find anything. But that's not because there wasn't anything there. I just didn't know what to look for. Right now, you have a pretty good idea. I mean, you go for all the way from board games to clothing to shoes to stuff that you shouldn't pick up also, right? So that's good.
What's new with you?
So it's kind of I'm in this weird phase. So we had the interview with Mark Meyer, and we talked to Lindy Glenn, and we talked about bulk buying, but I haven't found like those opportunities. Now maybe I'm looking in the wrong place, but I really was hoping to. I had mentioned this in previous podcasts. I wanted to go to auction and so on, but I'm not seeing it happen yet. At least not here. And maybe it's because it's a regional thing. Maybe there's a lot more of that on the East Coast and parts of the Midwest because, we had mentioned Flip a Dollar on our previous podcast. He's in the Midwest and he gets stuff at auctions all the time. So I'm looking and yeah, I go on Auction Zip and I'm on Cal Auctions and I'm looking at government auction websites and there just isn't anything at least that I would be willing to go in on, right? And we have an awesome interview coming up actually this Sunday with the 2 Aussie thrifters from Australia.
Woo woo.
And, they had talked about that they were willing to buy pallets of stuff they didn't know anything about, right? I don't know if I can do that yet. Like, and it's not that I'm risk averse, or maybe I am, but I like, now I'm in the zone where I like spending money on what I know will sell. Right. And so I did a lot of experimenting, I would say my first couple years of full time. And now that I'm actually ending the second year here soon, which, yeah, I'm actually at the end of year 2, which is kind of crazy. And entering year 3, I'm not about that anymore. I don't want to do it. So I'm still looking. So what I've been doing is I've been sourcing OfferUp, which has been kind of interesting. And we talked about this. Like you look at the person's username, you find all the items there. But man, it is quick. Like I've had so many where like they're like, yeah, sure, come by. And like I decided to like take a break and like pack a few items. And then on the road, I get this message that it's sold.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? What do you mean this sold?
Yeah.
Like you said you were selling to me, and you can only get so mad at people.
Yeah, you can't get mad at people at all.
Well, I kind of did at one. I was like, it'd been nice if you had told me before I hit the road. I didn't say it that way. And they're like, they made up some excuse that they were in Mexico. And I'm like, what? You're in Mexico. So how did this happen then? Right. Anyways. So yeah, you can. I mean, you just got to move on stuff. So that's one thing I'm learning is these local deals, like you got to move quick.
Yeah. And
the save searches, I think makes it even more competitive because, those that really know what's up are doing those save searches on OfferUp, on LetGo, on Facebook Marketplace. And so when things hit, you got to move. There's a pair of docks that I wanted to get and it was like 20 seconds gone.
Yeah.
Like there's no moving. The other thing is I've also decided I am not going to do, how I used to do like the mini road trips. Like I'm going to hit these 8 thrift stores in this region. Like I may do that every once in a while, but I'm going to go where the money is. Like, because I was reflecting over the pandemic about how I've been able to pick up so much inventory in such minimal time, whether it was sourcing through eBay or locally or doing a bulk buy. And now, like I went to, and I haven't showed this footage on Instagram, and maybe I should. I feel bad wasting people's time, but there's been 2 or 3 times I've gone to the store that shall not be named, and it's been absolutely nothing. I mean, I don't even think it was like lower dollar items I could pick up out of there. So I'm not sure what's going on. Is it that they don't have enough employees? I know that they laid off 90% of their employees here in San Diego, so maybe they're not able to get through the stuff. 2, it could be that they know more, and so they pick through their stuff a lot more now than before. Or 3, maybe we thought there were these huge donations, and maybe they didn't happen, or maybe they're in quarantine somewhere. I don't know, but it's been bad, and so I've hit this one store 3 times over the last 3 weeks. And I've only picked up like 2 items. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, this is very, I feel like it's a waste of time. And so I've gone to that one store we love, and I'm just going there. That's all I'm doing. And I'm scoring every single time. And so I think that's going to change things a little bit, because I really right now I'm enjoying the time freedom and not having to do as much work as I was doing before. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe, we will have this abundance in the thrift stores in a month or 2. But I'm not seeing it right now. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Nice. Yeah.
So, you got any random stories?
Yeah, this one actually, I guess it's random, kind of, and it's a shout out to my wife.
Are any of these random?
Huh?
Are any of these random, or are they just story time?
Well, I mean, if it's not like part of a topic, I guess we would call it random.
Okay.
Right? Stories that we like. I guess that's what things that happen. So my wife has gotten really good at our inventory system and making sure that we're using custom SKUs, and we know what shelving rack something's on, what tote it's in, inside of, or what shelf, then what tote, inside of what tote, what bag, or what section of the tote. And where we first started to get into doing this was when we picked up that big Macy's haul, right? Because it's like, okay, here's all of a sudden 100 items, and we've got to find a way to make sure that these are we're able to find them easily. We've actually done 2 of these types of hauls. So we've got all of these items, right? We've got all of these shirts, all of these pants, all these dresses, all these random things. And it would be very difficult, especially because it's one thing if you're just starting off and you're getting 1 item at a time, and it's like, I remember that 1 item. But when you get 100 items at once, nothing really stands out, right? Unless it's like an amazing item. So everything's listed. Okay, it's in tote 3. It's in bag 4 of tote 3. And it's easy to find as soon as something sells. Well, we sold an item from that Macy's box, and for whatever reason, there was no custom SKU. So I think that it was probably,
I get major anxiety when that hits.
It could have been a mistake on our end, but it just seems weird that every other item had one. And so I was like, maybe something happened with eBay when we listed this, it didn't save. Who knows, right? That doesn't matter. But I'm really proud of my wife, because she was like, all right, I did this over like the course of 3 days, listing all of these. She goes, let's remember when I was taking pictures, I feel like this was towards the last third of pictures I was taking, right? So that automatically eliminated like 3 of our totes, right? And then it left like 2 totes. She's like, okay. And then of that third, I feel like I put it, and she like went through this whole process. So she's like, okay, so I think I did that on a Saturday. So that would be probably this tote. And I feel like on that day, it was right in the middle. So we have like 5 bags in each tote. So maybe it's like tote 4, bag 3, right? Because that would be right in the middle of Saturday. And she opened it up, and it was right on top of that bag. First pick, right? And I'm just like blown away, because I'm like, I have a pretty good memory, but the fact that she was able to like think it through like that, like, when do I remember taking this picture? All right, it was probably like towards the end, right? So she picked a day, and she's like, well, most of the items in that day were in this tote. And then I remember in that day, it was like closer to the evening. I still had a lot left. It was about halfway done. And she was able to like visualize where it was and find it one shot instead of spending. If she wasn't able to do that and she was wrong, that first pick, she could have spent hours, right? Looking through bag after bag, trying to find, where is this item at? Where's this shirt at? For like a $15 profit, right? It isn't like a huge profit that would make it worthwhile. And so that's one, a reminder to double check that you've got custom SKUs. And then 2, it's just, I'm kind of impressed with her, right? Like that she was able to like visualize it and think it through, and she nailed it on the first shot. And I'm sure we've all have stories like that, but she told me that this week and I was like, man, you are pretty awesome.
It is scary. I mean, that is awesome. I mean, it's one of those things where like you have everything organized. And I've had it before where I wait until probably, I don't know, 20 minutes till closing of the post office to get my inventory from the storage unit to pack it. Because I can pack pretty quick. But I've had it where it's like you roll it up and you're like, I got 20 minutes. And you go through like 30 totes in like 10 minutes. And it's pretty bad. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad
she's awesome.
I'm glad that worked out. All right. So mine is, I got a couple of things. I got, first one is, so we've been getting a lot of DMs about this and now I'm experiencing it. So I'm not sure what's going on with the post office these days, but man, if you bring in a lot of packages, at least the location we're at, like unless they're priority, like a lot of them are not getting scanned right now. A lot. Like the other day I dropped, on the low end, I dropped 30 packages. I think on the high end, it was 50. I can't remember. It was both merchant fulfilled and eBay. And there was like 5 of them that was first class. So every single item was priority. So, I went inside and I asked them, can I get the big, like carry, whatever, that rolling cart? And so I filled up the rolling cart and like I purposely put like the first class on top because I'm like, I don't want anybody to take this. And they're like, oh yeah, just leave it in the lobby. And I don't know. I don't know why people are so trustworthy. Like, I still lock my doors no matter where I'm at. I can be in the middle of nowhere. I'll still lock my doors. So to ask me to leave this whole, there's over like, I don't know, it's like $1,500 worth of merchandise that I'm just leaving here in the lobby. But I left it. And I go home and I'm like, all right, I wonder, I waited like 2 hours. I'm like, all right, I wonder if they scanned it. And sure enough, all the priority stuff was scanned and all the first class wasn't scanned. And even till now, like I go to this and it'll still tell me, first class, and I look and it's like, oh, label has been provided, and that is all. So I'm like, this is not good because one of the items that I sold was something that somebody, oh, well, there you go. All right,
it finally scanned.
It took, and I got to give a shout out to one of our listeners that pulled me off the ledge on this one. Because this person, look at this note that this buyer. So I just sold a buckle. It was only like 20 something bucks, but they go, greetings, and they put my store name. Many thanks for this nifty eBay offering with even more thrown in for your kind of extra discount. I'm a big rugby fan, and it's fun to stumble on rugby related items on eBay. They are rare here in the US. No matter which code the team are an Aussie rugby league team in Sydney, possibly still owned by that Thespian sports aficionado, Russell Crowe, all the best. And I get this and I'm like, yeah, like I'm going to pack this. I'm going to send this. Like, I love these kind of sales. And then there's no tracking. So I'm like, great. I'm going to hear from this person because obviously they really look forward to this one. And so I'm like, shout out to Wayne Kway Shop on Instagram. He's a mailman. And I said, hey, listen, man, I'm just trying to figure this out. Like, this is not the first time. This is about the third time in the last 2 weeks where I bring in a bunch of packages. And like, I don't find out about stuff till like days later. And so basically what he said is if the post office gets swamped, they're going to scan priority because they are priority. He's like, that's the way it is. And he goes, and he told me, he said, even myself, like I work for the post office, I'll wait in line to make sure everything gets scanned. And I was like, all right, well, if the post office person is telling me they wait in line at the post office, like that's good advice. Now, some of you are going to say, hey, Orlando, why don't you do pickup? I don't do pickup because I don't trust my neighborhood. I don't trust leaving my stuff out there. So that's why I don't do pickup.
Orlando's not a super trusting guy.
No. If you knew my life, you'd understand why. The second part is it's time. Like, imagine me standing there while they're scanning. I don't know. I think it was like 40 something packages. That's why I said 30 to 60. I can't remember. Like, just put on scale. I mean, that's about 30 minutes of time. I have other places to go to. I think I had to record a podcast with you at that moment in time. Yeah, it was yesterday. So I had to get going. And so that's the other reason. But anyways, if you do run into that scenario, all you can do is trust the system, right? I wouldn't even bother contacting the post office. Now, if it's been 3 or 4 days and, it should have arrived by then you have a scenario that, it's probably time to contact your local post office. And like I've shared on Instagram before, if it's something, and I've shared on the podcast, if it's something that has arrived, it's on the buyer to find out what happened. If it's something that hasn't arrived, it's on you to find out what happened. So So there's that. And the other thing is, man, I feel like this is like a random story, but what's trending right now on eBay is kids making offers on items. Like, I can't tell you how many, literally this week, probably 3 to 5 times I've had somebody say, oh, my kid bought that. I'm like, what? Like, I had a Goofy plush the other day. Cha-ching, it's sold. And it's something that I wish I never picked up. So I'm like, yes. And I had this dilemma. Okay, do I go right now in my storage unit? Do I pack it? And do I ship it out? Because I do that sometimes just because I want to get the algorithm going. I'm like, nah, I got time. I already went to the post office this morning. I should have done it, because within an hour later, I get oh, my kid accidentally bought this. Can we cancel? Now, it would have been nice if I said, oh, I'm sorry. It's already been dropped off. It's on its way. And would they have returned it? Maybe. I don't know. It was less than $20. Like, would they have? I don't know. But the best one was, I had one where it was a Harley shirt, new with tags. And to send an offer, like, it's not like a one click.
Yeah.
Like, you have to send the offer, you submit, then it makes you review. Like, are you sure this is what you want to send? Da, da, da. Well, somebody's daughter had great taste and knew what their dad wanted for Father's Day, even though she was like 3 years old. And
yeah. I think that's when when it's an offer, like, okay, like, now part of it is, I know many times people are able to use that excuse. They call their cell phone company and they say, like, hey, my kid bought a bunch of apps, or we went over on data because my kid was watching movies.
And we had people on Instagram tell us that. Like, one person said their kid bought like $10,000 worth of stuff on Amazon.
Yeah. No, and so that stuff does happen. But a lot of times it's almost like a guaranteed freebie. The first time you call AT&T and tell them, like, went over on data because my kid bought a bunch of stuff or was watching streaming and didn't know, or whatever. It's almost like guaranteed they're gonna let it go that first time. And so I think people use similar excuses when it's like, my kid accidentally bought this online. Now, some of those times give them the benefit of the doubt, but realistically, like you said, an offer, I think a lot of times if somebody's able to go through the process of make an offer, it's going to be a lower price. I think what it more often than not probably is people don't realize, one, that if you send an offer and somebody accepts it, that's now a contract, right? It's not just, like, hey, it's not like negotiating in person where somebody can say, like, I'll give you 30 and you're like, oh, how about 20? The moment you say, yeah, I'll take that, you're now obligated to pay that, right? And so it's a little bit more intense. And I think people don't always realize that, or don't think that maybe it'll be accepted. I mean, there's times where I'm sourcing on eBay and I'll send an offer and I'm like, this is kind of a big offer. And I send like a $20 offer on something. And I'm like, what, honestly, if they don't take that offer, I'll be okay. Like, I'm glad, like, that's kind of, maybe I overpaid a little bit. And part of me is kind of just hoping they don't take it. And when they do accept it, it's like, all right, I made the offer, I'm going to buy it. But I'm sure that happens too, or people send it and then afterwards kind of either have buyer's remorse or think to themselves, there's no way they're going to accept this offer. And maybe they don't actually have the money to pay for it, right? They're like, ooh, they did accept the offer. Now what?
No, I agree. It's kind of like one of those times when somebody buys something and they don't pay for it. And it's the only time I'm okay with it, because I'm like, I hope they don't pay, because I know I could have gotten more money. I just was at the time trying to trigger the algorithm, right? So I get that. But yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, here's I didn't even mention the after, and then we'll move on to our reseller topics. But so this person said that their daughter has sent the offer, but then said, yeah, things have been kind of tough with COVID. Can we get a lower price on that? What? Wait a second. Like, bro, you just exposed yourself. Like, how are you going to go from my daughter to now? Well, actually, can we get a lower price? Like, that doesn't work. So, all right, let's talk about there's some good stuff happening here. So let's get to our reseller topics.
Yeah. The world is changing around us faster than we can even keep up. But reselling is that foundation, that rock, that steady anchor in your life. But even there's changes there. Tell us about them, Orlando.
Well, there's some good stuff happening. Now, this isn't like, okay, this is reseller topic, but it's not. But I signed up for managed payments.
I'm so proud of you.
And have you already signed up?
I don't think so. I think we're going to.
Okay. All right. And so the reason you gave that answer is because sometimes your wife handles that part of it.
Yeah. Okay, she may have already signed us up. She's probably listening right now like, yes, I already signed up. Okay. But yeah, she does a lot of the admin stuff behind the scenes.
So if you know anything about me, I've been anti-managed payments since day one. Like I was like, I'm going to wait to the end. But here's why I signed up. One is, if there's a bunch of people like me that are signing up in middle of July before the deadline, like, you know how things are. Like whenever people wait last minute, systems crash, things don't go well. Not that would happen, but here's what I've heard. I've heard some people like they've done something like there was somewhere, I can't remember. They had said something about like they had put the wrong address. I think it was like on a scavenger life forum. I think somebody had said they put like the wrong address, like the title or something, or they called into the show, and then eBay didn't let them get paid for like 2 weeks and a half because it wasn't the same thing as their taxes. I'm like, that would be terrible. Like, so I'm like, I mean, could I go 2 weeks without getting paid? Sure, I could go 2 weeks. Do I want to? No, like no one wants to. So there's that. Like if there's any errors, I want to be able to correct it. The other one is, I've heard a lot of people say that you do get more sales once you jump to managed payments. I'm like, all right, well, since global shipping's on there now, why not? And the other part is, and I'm hoping eBay comes through on this, and I haven't had anybody yet comment. So if you know, comment below. If somebody buys something that's an offer, either like right now they have 48 hours, but if it's managed payments, I think it's supposed to be instant. But I've also seen somebody show this on Instagram where like somebody didn't pay right away. And then when they didn't pay right away, what ended up happening was they got a message from eBay, and the message said, you are allowed to relist this due to lack of payment or something like that. And I'm like, that's kind of nice. Like I remember telling the eBay execs, I said at eBay Open, I said, it'd be nice if the item was still available until the person paid, right? Because that would motivate someone like, hey, I'm going to pay because I don't want to lose this. Like right now, it's a layaway program. So for all those reasons, I decided to sign up. Now, understand when you sign up, that doesn't mean you're in the program. Like for a reason, like you're on the list. And so sometime between now and July 15, I'm hoping that I'll get set up and I'll be all good. So I don't know. I encourage you guys. I mean, here's the thing. It's happening like no matter what. And, you know, again, I wouldn't type in thoughts on managed payments. I mean, you could, but man, you go into those forums and there was another one. It's like, I'm done. They wanted my social security number and I'm over with eBay. Like this is the last straw. I'm going to Craigslist and Facebook. Like what? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you always got to realize with things like that, the squeaky wheels are always going to get the most attention, right? And so when people are really, really upset and passionate, they tend to speak out more than the people who are happy, right? So you're going to, if you look for things like that, you're going to probably find more negative than positive, just in general. Now, that doesn't mean that's always the case, right? Like a lot of times, if
I think
the majority,
it's like 99% of the case.
But if the majority of the people realize, then maybe there's enough just across the board of people saying, no, it's good, that kind of drowns out. But those people who are very upset are going to seek the attention. They're going to kind of rise to the top, even in a lot of the forums,
even if it's me,
even in the forums and things where people are disagreeing with them, the action or the interaction on the post, the negative post will push it to the top. And a lot of times people just read, just the very beginning of something and they don't go into depth of what everybody else has said afterwards. So yeah, you do got to be careful when you go online and you'll find anything you want, and you'll find people who will feel as upset about it as you are, or people will make you upset about something that maybe you don't have. You can always
find someone to make you feel good
or upset.
I mean, yeah, but whether it's whatever the issue is, like, and that's a problem. That's why I think we have a problem in our society of listening to each other, because it's so easy to just always find people that we want to listen to all the time. So, all right, but that's for another podcast.
Yeah.
All right. So managed payments. Well, we'll keep you tuned. As soon as I sign up, I'll be open. I mean, obviously we're all going to be on the same page in a little over a month. So, all right. So more good news. So eBay is on fire right now. Like eBay is doing really well. They sent out a, hold on, let me pull it up here on my nifty laptop or MacBook. They sent out their business results. Jordan Sweetnam, he is the SVP. I don't know what that selling vice president. He's an important guy. Really nice guy, by the way. Like Mike and I get invited to do some of those seller check-ins, and he's on there. And man, the guy's legit. I like to meet you someday, Jordan, and have you on the podcast, by the way. So they put out, and they put a few things. So the GMV, which is the gross merchandise value, that's basically how much they sold of merchandise, is 23 to 26% higher than it was this time last year. Now, there's two things. I mean, you could also say, yeah, but things have been low for eBay for the last few years. Yeah, true. But hey, we're just looking forward. I mean, I'm okay that we're at 25% higher. That's pretty good. right? And said they expect, that for Q2, 23 to 26% compared to last year. They said they also added 6 million new and reactivated buyers in April and May, and their buyer growth is accelerating. And they're seeing vertical trends in all categories: home and garden, electronics, fashion, car parts, and so on. And things are going well. And they've also decided to do national TV campaigns, which to me, I felt that was just pressure.
It sounds like old media they're using. Like who's
Yeah, but you know why? I see that complaint on. Here's what's funny. I see that complaint on Instagram from influencers all the time. Like, how come I got to turn on TV and I always see Mercari? Which is true. I always see Poshmark on there. Like, even on our own YouTube, the two ads we get is Amazon Automation and Mercari. Like, the Mercari is the one I see all the time, and it's a bad commercial. It's like, who wrote this? It's like from the 80s, man. Like, come on now. And but it's okay, Mercari. I love eBay. So, they're doing national TV, which I don't know, but it's a good thing you bring that up, because you know what's gotten me to buy stuff? It's not been TV, it's Instagram ads.
Yeah.
Like, I'll buy silly stuff. Like, the other one was like, I didn't buy it, but I almost did, was like a planking, like, video game thing. Like, you could do planking.
Yeah.
You seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I clicked on it just to see what it was about.
Oh, only $99. It's down from $199. You've never heard of it before, but it was originally $199 and now it's $99, even though the actual price is probably $99. But the fact that in the ad it has the $199 crossed out, in your mind you were never thinking like, would I pay $199 for this? But as soon as they show you that it used to be $199 and now it's so those ads are really clever, and especially because they're more targeted, right? Like I try and convince people that of all the time. Like, even with like, I work at a charter school, and a part of it is, trying to get enrollment. And so they send out, flyers to the community and say like, hey, here's what our school is about. And one of the beautiful things about social media advertising is you can target specific demographics, right? So who are the people who are looking at the things that are interested in this, right? And same thing with eBay. I think when you broadcast on television, now maybe if you're like, okay, the products we sell.
When's the last time you watched television, Mike?
Well, that's the thing is, so if you watch certain channels, right? Like certain channels at certain times of the day, you can tell who their current audience is, right? It's like, ooh, there's a lot of advertisements here for like retirement or back pain, and it's like, okay, so they probably have a much older audience. Or you see certain advertisements for certain health products, or so you can kind of tell who their audience is, but you can't even target as much. And I think unless you're specifically looking for, I think majority of Americans now are moving away from TV as their primary source of entertainment to their phones. And so it seems like the money would be better spent on phones, unless TV ads are just dirt cheap right now because nobody's, watching TV. But
it makes you activate. It makes you activate right there. That's the difference. Like TV, you have to like, pick up your laptop or pick up your phone. Like when it's on internet, like for instance, you remember those cell phone cases that would like stick to walls or whatever? Do you know that was a private label thing? Like they were $249 on Alibaba, and people were selling them for like $10 to $20, right? But the nice thing is like you for instance, you see the slash price and you're like, this is good, and you can right there buy it. And it's like, if you buy one, here's the price buy. So I'm thinking, what if eBay had, hey, if you click on this now, we'll give you 5 free. Like that's what they're offering right now. If you're a new seller, you can sell the first 5 items for free, right? What if right now, if they said, hey, click right now and get your items listed? Like I don't know. And again, I want to say, I do believe that eBay probably has a marketing team that did the research and thought this through, and maybe TV is the way to go.
Maybe. But then again, even still, like a lot of times I don't know how much we've talked about this, but a lot of times big companies, when we've even mentioned like, a big ship is hard to steer. It takes a long time to turn. A lot of times marketing companies get stuck in what worked 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because it worked really well then. And in our day and age, like marketing changes so quickly that what worked 5-10 years ago all of a sudden looks outdated. But it's really tough unless you've got a group of very, very progressive minded or very flexible individuals in the department, or very young people who've just graduated college and have all the new ideas. But even the young people with the new ideas, if they're not willing to pivot and say like, because right now they're like, yeah, it's on TikTok, get your ads on TikTok. And if they stick to TikTok 5 years from now, it's going to be something else. And if they haven't moved to say like, oh, it's no longer TikTok, they're still like, no, trust me, like TikTok. So people have to be willing to change. Like big companies like Sears and those types of companies had a hard time making those changes and lost, important people who wanted to make changes. So I don't know, to me, I mean, again, I'm a nobody, but TV just seems, one of the things that worries me about that is I firmly believe that a lot of people who use eBay, buyer wise, is probably an older generation, right? I feel like the youngest generation of buyers right now are not on eBay to the extent that the older generation is. Right. So I think that the younger generations are using Facebook Marketplace, they're using Mercari, even if it's not as good of a platform and maybe they don't have the buying power. But the problem is if you go to TV, that's probably the number one demographic there too, is people 50 plus. Right. And so if those are the people, your customers you're trying to bring into eBay, or the buyers or sellers and buyers you're trying to bring into eBay, then are you helping eBay adapt for this changing generation? Or do you need to move and pivot to say, how do we get in the 20-somethings?
Yeah, and it's possible too that eBay saw an opportunity because probably ad space on TV is cheaper now, right? Because there's no sports. It's kind of sad. I mean, we've been able to go out to eat now, and like we'll get wings or we'll go to Chili's, and it's like we're watching the Muhammad Ali fight. We're watching like Super Bowl 13, like. So weird. Anyway, that's the sign. But the reason I say that is because it's not like, it may be cheaper now, right? I mean, that's one of the things. I remember when I was an administrator at the previous school, like I was always opposed to mail in stuff. Always. I'm like, why are we dropping thousands of dollars when we can just do something on social media? And then we would drop thousands on a TV ad. Now, we had success, I believe, on the radio ads that we did. Because, everybody's commuting is still a part of life. Like people still listen to now. You can with your phone, you can stream stuff, but people still like doing their, the early morning drive or the afternoon. Some of you listen to our podcast in the mornings on the way to work.
But again, I think more and more people are moving to podcasts, right? So that's where you got to advertise. So unless your demographic is, I want people 40 plus. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm assuming it's probably like late 30s up through like the 60s that are like listening to radio or Sirius XM more than they're listening to podcasts, right? Yeah. If you're
Sirius XM a thing still?
I'm assuming, okay. Right? Or XM radio or whatever it is, right? So there are people who are going to be, it's going to be a harder shift, or they're not going to make that shift to podcast. But I think any 18-year-old through 25-year-old is listening to all of their music on Spotify or on Pandora. Yeah. They're not listening to it on the radio, or they're watching it through YouTube, and they're getting their news, or they're getting their political shows, or their self-help, or their religious shows, or whatever it is that they're getting through podcasts, right? They're not getting it through listening to, DJs on the radio or specific shows that talk about, the stock market, right? If they're going to listen to stock market stuff, they're not going to wait until, is it the right time at the right place?
Is Kramer on?
Do I have the right channel on, right? No, they're just going to download a podcast. So again, and I want to even think about like what this means to us as resellers, right? So maybe you don't have to worry about the marketing, right? You're thinking like eBay's doing, in a way, marketing for you there, but it's also the platform you're using. If that's the platform you're using, then you do have vested interest in the type of marketing they do. Are they succeeding as a company? Are they growing? Are they putting their money in the right ways? Are the people they're hiring at the top going to make the right decisions? So you do have a vested interest in that, but you also have, to keep up with what's going on trend-wise, not only trends for what are the right items to source, but how are our up-and-coming generations getting their marketing? How can you market your own business, whether it's through, networking? I mean, because even that is going to change as time goes. So you want to make sure that you're kind of keeping up with what's going on and not just sticking to the tried and true, because what's tried and true, I mean, there are certain things that's like, this is going to be a consistent, maybe it's like a marketing law or an ethic law or whatever it is that's going to stay no matter what. But then there's certain things that are going to constantly change. And so just because something worked for you 5 years ago doesn't mean it's going to continue working. So you got to be constantly willing to adapt, to be willing to say, hey, maybe this platform I'm using isn't the right one anymore, and shift and change.
Yeah. And not to take away from eBay. Like eBay's been phenomenal. I mean, even, I'm so used to not paying my listing fees. Right after I hit, because we still got 50,000 free up until July. There's a lot that can be done. My goal is still to get to 3K listings, and it will hurt. Once I start getting hit with those fees, it will hurt after July. Or, as some people have suggested, it may be that as a result of this, they don't see the point in doing listing fees anymore, or source subscription, one or the other. So we'll see. But I don't want to take away from eBay's doing well. Even stocks. I bought eBay stock like at 33, and it's like at $50 now. And it's still going. And again, the market, that's a whole nother, who knows what's going on there, man. It's weird. I'll take it though. But eBay, I get the sense that eBay is still sharing it is a major spot for secondary goods. It always has been, but I think it's reinforcing that, and I think it's establishing its dominance again, because there's only so much, like, you know, a lot of you have contacted us and said, and again, I'm okay. You know, we support cross-posting. We have 2 ads about cross-posting. We think it's a great thing, but you also got to know what you're selling, right? And so usually to me, the higher end goods that go for more money, I always say, listen to them on eBay, because on Poshmark, a lot of it is just people literally still cleaning out their closets. It's not as reseller focused as eBay is. eBay, it's a lot of businesses, people running businesses, where there are a lot of businesses being run on Poshmark, but not to the extent that there is on eBay. And then Mercari, to me, Mercari is a step up from Craigslist. It's a virtual thing. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of harsh, but that's how I see Mercari still. And maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. I love to be wrong. Let me know.
He doesn't love to be wrong.
That's true. I'm pretty arrogant. All right, moving on. All right. Hey, so let's talk about Amazon a little bit. So Amazon's Prime Day has been pushed to September, but Amazon is having the summer sale like June 22nd for apparel. So if you saw on Amazon, I anticipate that, you know, usually whenever there's Prime Day, yeah, all the lightning deals and all the good stuff sells for, you know, really quick. But everybody's stuff sells, right? You begin to sell stuff that has been sitting in your inventory for a year. And actually, Amazon has purposely had talked about this, that they're like, hey, I don't have the exact report up, but there was one of the reports that one of the Amazon spokespeople was talking about, we want to get those things out of the shelves in the warehouse that have been sitting there for like the last 9 months. Right. So this may mean maybe dropping the price on some of your items. This may mean, you know, making sure that you are sold out through all the stuff that's been sitting by the end of June, right? So you can start off fresh, and then you can start prepping for Prime Day. I mean, I personally, this next week, I'm going to send a few FBA shipments in, anticipating that there's going to be a lot of traffic that Amazon is going to work on driving to their site. And so I'm anticipating a lot of sales. So I don't know, it's kind of encouraging, because, you know, Prime Day was a good way for me to stop the mythical summer slowdown. So any thoughts on any of that?
No, I mean, it's always good when there's sales online. I mean, I'm not a big, over the years, I've been less and less consumed by purchasing things for myself. Just recognizing like it doesn't actually, you know, scratch the itch. It doesn't really satisfy anything. But, you know, as a reseller, or as somebody involved in like the retail business, you know, sales are good. It gets people's blood going and people want to buy, and it creates like a frenzy, like you said, and people are going to be buying stuff even if it's not that great of a sale. And, you know, it's always going to be good. And maybe we could even say like economy stimulating. I don't know. So yeah, it's good.
All right. Back to eBay now. Man, we're all over the place today.
Dun, dun, dun.
Then we're going to thread up after this.
Nice.
So, you know, we had mentioned about how like it's kind of weird how you can't sell bullion, or am I saying that right? Bullion? Bullion. Is that how you say it? Sorry, my accent gets in the way sometimes. Or coins because of managed payments. But then I came across a story, and I'm 99.99% sure this is accurate. So I'm not trying to put fake reseller topics here. But eBay was asked about the coin thing, right? Because we talked about like this is pretty wild. Like, you can't sell that. Like, that's a lot of income. And so I'm gonna read it real quick. So this comes from Coin World. So I'm thinking they're an official site. I'm not a coin guy, so I don't know. But they said officials confirmed that eBay is not ending sale of coins. And they said confusion over whether eBay was eliminating sales of coins and the other numismatic the items. I'm hooked on phonics here. For sale at its online selling platform is cleared up by company officials. Steve Halupka, eBay's manager for emerging verticals. What a title. Like, what do you do for a living? I'm the manager for emerging verticals.
Yeah. I'm going to put that on my next business card.
Which includes bullion, coins, sports memorabilia, and stamps, released the following statement after Coin World inquired about collector confusion and misinformation found in online discussions, collector forums, so on. The official said, eBay will continue to allow sale of coins, paper money, and bullion now and in the future. Further, eBay sellers are frequently listing coins, paper money, and bullion will not be required to register for managed payments until these categories are compatible. Until then, there is no action required and sellers can continue to sell on eBay as they do today.
Nice.
So does that mean if I don't want to do managed payments, which I already signed up, but if I did, I should start selling coins?
Yeah, I've got like my son has a piggy bank, so I should pull out like 15 pennies or something out of there and like list them for like $300 each and just call them collectible or something, knowing nobody will buy them, but say like, look, I mean, I'm a coin seller. You're going to have to wait until coins are part of managed payments.
So I guess it's real. I mean, here's the one more. One more said, professional coin grading service president Brett Charville posted this message May 25th as part of the discussion thread. Last week, I reached out directly to the coin division head at eBay, and he was emphatic that eBay will continue to sell coins for years to come, and that the thread regarding their change in payment policies misinterprets their guidance on the matter.
Yep. Good. I mean, I knew. I mean, I guess I can't say I know. Nobody knows anything for certain, but it was pretty obvious that eBay is not going to lose that significant of a chunk of their bottom line, right? And coins is such a big percentage of the sales that they're doing on eBay. They make so much money off of each one of those sales. And yeah, there's no way that that would hurt eBay, right? So they're going to find a way to make it work. And maybe for whatever reason in the systems or current laws, because a lot of times there's like underlying things, Maybe
Apple Pay didn't allow it.
Yeah, or like Visa doesn't allow transactions dealing with coins, or there's who knows, like currency can't be traded via credit, or there's probably some underlying thing, and so they have to work through all the logistics of that. But yeah, there's no way they're going to say like on our platform we're going to stop, allowing this. That would be like them. We're no longer doing shoes, or we're no longer doing cars, or we're not like they're not going to give up a big chunk of their business for no reason.
Yeah. And I would assume coin is like pretty hassle-free compared to other categories too, So anyways, those of you that are selling coins, hopefully that's legit news and it's good news to you.
Yeah.
All right. So now you sent me this. Were you able to read the whole article about Walmart and ThredUp? No? So I don't know. It just seems like everybody, like we've talked about before, H&M was doing secondary clothing. This was like months ago. JCPenney is getting into the secondary market, and now Walmart is getting into secondary clothing. So real quick, over the last few years, this is directly from Walmart's site. Headline says, Walmart partners with ThredUp to enter popular fashion resale market. Over the last few years, we focused on expanding our assortment of quality, yada, yada, yada. I'm thrilled to announce that we'll be offering even more fantastic brands with our entry into the popular fashion resale market through our online partnership with ThredUp, the leading resale platform for fashion accessories at mass market. I didn't know that they were leading.
Yeah, I'm sure they are, depending on how you title and phrase it.
So starting today, customers can shop walmart.com/thredup to find nearly 750,000 pre-owned items across women and children's clothing, accessories, footwear, and handbags. So no men's clothing.
Yeah. I kind of look at something like that as, any big company buys other companies and or partners with, but basically they're buying portions of, and I'm sure what they want is bottom line profit. They probably want to be able to say like, hey, we can pump in however much money into your marketing or into your advertising or into your infrastructure on your website in order to make it better, but we need to take X percentage of your profit, or we're going to own 27% or whatever it is. And so the fact that you got to go to walmart.com/thredup, right, to me, that doesn't like scream, oh no, like Walmart is now in the resale game of used clothes. What it tells me is they see money on the table and they were able to acquire a portion or all of a company in order to maximize profits in that area, and they see long-term benefit. I don't see them ever doing it themselves. A lot of big companies do things like this. Like if you make widgets and there's another company that sells cups and you're like, I have no desire to sell cups, but we're a big enough company that we can buy like that company or like a big majority of that company, and we can kind of help them and get them platforms and get them in with the people we know, then you can make money off of them, and you don't have to change. You don't have to add that to what you do. You're just going to profit when they profit.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm laughing. They do sell men's clothing, and they have this thing for Father's Day, and they have, you should look it up, casual dad, adventurous dad, fun dad. Dude, that guy's shorts, man. Like, hey, that guy's a fun dad.
That's fun.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, just go check it out. And then you got sporty dad with the duffel over the shoulder. I'm going to go work out. So
What kind of dad are you?
Is that rhetorical?
Which of those outfits would you wear?
I think I'm reselling that, like same black shirt and khaki shorts every day. I think that's me. I don't know. How would I pose?
You have to pick like you got to pick one of those. Like which one of those outfits do you see yourself wearing?
I see myself as an adventurous dad.
Really?
Dude, like he's wearing khaki shorts and sandals kind of. And but dude, fun dad, those are boxers that you don't wear in public.
I'm in between adventure dad and trend loving dad probably.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but I've never seen you wear jeans like those, Mike.
No, I would never roll up.
Roll up your jeans?
Yeah, I never would roll up. But like I would wear like dress shoes with jeans and like a shirt, like a normal like t-shirt or something. So yeah.
I mean, just check it out. I mean, here's what I say. I when I want to find quality items, I don't go to Walmart. I know I'm not trying. I'm throwing shade.
Ouch.
But I don't. When I do need the practical day-to-day stuff, sure, I'll go to Walmart, but when I want quality stuff, like I go to Costco, right? I mean,
would you say that like Target would have been a better partnership with ThredUp if they were trying to get like that?
Well, you know what people say, you dress up to go to Target, you dress down to go to Walmart. Just the way it is, right?
Is that what people say?
That's what people say.
All right.
I mean, there's these TikTok.
I don't say that.
No, there's a TikTok trend at one time when it showed people like, this is how I dress to go to Walmart, and they like just got out of bed and they're all messed up and they're like, oh, now I got to go to Target. So they go take a shower, put makeup on, get all dressed up, and then go to Target. It's true. Like, look at the way the stores are set up. Like, I feel better when I walk. And I love Walmart. Don't get me wrong. And whatever. If I throw shit at Walmart, whatever. But yeah, Walmart, like, I always know where stuff is. I never have a problem finding an associate. Like, Walmart, it's like, you're on your own, man. Like, you want to find something? Like, you're not going to find it. If you do find something, it's like, oh, that's Billy's department over there. Or it's, Juanita knows. And I'm like, what? No, like I came to you. Like you show me. I go to Target and it's like, pick up the phone. It's like a Target associate will be with you in 60 seconds, right? In 60 seconds, somebody's showing up. Yeah. It's different.
My wife and I one time went to Walmart. We had to stop for something and she just got off of work. So she's in like, dress, like a woman's dress business type outfit. And I'm in like a shirt and tie and, we're both dressed like kind of to the nines, just work, attire. And we're walking in Walmart holding our hands. And this lady walks up to us and she goes, I just have to stop you. You guys are the best looking couple. You're just such a nice looking couple. You guys you're dressed so nice. Like you're just the nicest looking couple in Walmart. And I was like, well, that's a weird thing to stop somebody and tell them, but thank you.
It's true. I mean, it's I put it this way. So when I used to work loss prevention, undercover work, like at retail stores,
Orlando, undercover agent.
Yeah, whatever it was.
On the job.
But I dressed differently at different stores. So like when I worked at Marshall Fields, which was a more it was like a high end. It was more high end than Nordstrom. Like I would dress more high end because that's kind of the clientele that came through there, right? I mean, it is you dress, for what you expect. Yeah. Right. But and I like Walmart. I feel good at Walmart, so it's okay. I'm good either way. Anyways,
there we go.
I'm not Fun Dad. That's just not. Check out Fun Dad. That guy. I hope he got paid the bucks. All right. Wow. Were we mean?
I mean, I think. Let's be honest. Like, maybe we're just a little jealous that we can't pull off the Fun Dad look.
That inside of us. Yes, that's probably it. It was just us not wanting to. We were just mean. Okay. All right. Anyway, so getting it back to reselling. Here's the thing. There's so many opportunities and I keep, you always hear people like, you got to jump on every platform. And I 100% believe in cross-posting, but I do think there's a place where you extend yourself too much and you got to really look, is the time you're spending on all these platforms worth it? Or is it good to pick 2 or 3 good platforms, cross-post on those, and then just keep moving, right? So that's where we land on that.
That's good.
All right. Hey, we haven't had a chance yet to talk about this. If you are not following us on social media, it's a great time too, because we're always dropping content on there. And, a lot of behind the scenes and what we do and a lot of the stories we share, we're able to visualize more of it because we show, on Instagram stories or on Facebook or on TikTok. So you can follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok as Pure Hustle Podcast. We are Pure Hustle Cast on Twitter. You could always give us a call, 619-738-1170. That's 619-738-1170. Or you could shoot us an email, purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. sprspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you all for the reviews. I think we're like 8 away from being at 300. So, hey,
help us get there.
Just 8 of you we just want to hit 300 just because we want to feel like our lives are good.
Yeah. So if you have an iTunes account, if you got an Apple, if you're one of those people, I'm just kidding.
He's an Android guy.
So, go on to iTunes, please leave us a review. If you want to just leave us the stars, that's awesome. We appreciate it. If you want to write something, we read all of them. And honestly, those comments are the things that really keep us motivated and keep us going. So thank you all of you who've already left a comment. We truly appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, we'd love if you would take the time to jump over there and do that.
Yeah. And as always, thank you all for the donations, especially during this time. And I do want to see something real quick. So I didn't know that there was this PayPal setting that unless we accepted some donations, we were not able to accept. And so we had a couple that got kicked back. So if that happened to you, we have fixed the problem and we're okay if you send us donations now. It wasn't us rejecting it. It was like, I got a message from PayPal. I was like, you have rejected. I'm like, what? No, like, why would we do that? Like, that doesn't make sense. So I fixed it in the settings and appreciate all of you. It's really awesome. All the support we get, like whenever we post anything on the podcast, on Instagram, whatever, the comments, we are grateful. And it always keeps us motivated, keeps us moving forward. And we're so glad that we're able to help so many. And it helps us too, because we learn from all of you. When you shoot us DMs, when you leave comments, we're always learning from everyone. So thank you, all of you.
Yeah.
All right, it is time for
Bolo.
What's your Bolo? I was trying to do the lip sync and I couldn't do it. I couldn't get the time.
You just made it look awkward. So everybody watching on YouTube,
you're like, what is Orlando doing?
The super awkward. So if you're not watching on YouTube, you got to at least come over and watch the part where the Bolo part happened. And then while you're here, hit the like and subscribe button.
There you go. That's right. I forgot to talk about that. You're not catching us on YouTube. All right. So what is your Bolo?
All right. So my Bolo is, and again, we shouldn't have to preface this with do your research, but obviously do your research. But what has been kind of hot for me recently is like the VTech, MobiGo type games, right? Now, the systems themselves I haven't done very well with, but what I've noticed is, and maybe part of it is the quarantine and a lot of parents with, kids at home, they're trying to figure out what to do to keep them entertained, but also that's educational. I've had a lot of these sell recently, a lot of games sell. And the nice thing is I'm usually able to pick up like a lot of them, like maybe 15, 20 games somebody has of these VTech mobile type games. And in these games, maybe I pick up 20 or 15 of them for $10, right? Or $5 or depending on, where you're at, what you're doing. So lot them in, get a lot of these. And I'm selling a lot of them for, anywhere from $10 to $15 with shipping. A lot of them is just $9.99 with plus shipping. But when you can get a whole bunch of them at once like that, and then they're selling, it's a good thing. And maybe this isn't like an always Bolo, but it could be a Bolo right now, right? So goes back to earlier Bolo where we talked about like homeschool type stuff, educational stuff, and even going into the summertime, you've got to imagine that a lot of parents are trying to find fun, but they're also trying to prevent what we would call like the summer slide, right? Where like kids are regressing a little bit in their knowledge. And so a lot of parents are proactive about, okay, you got to spend for every hour you spend playing games, you got to do something educational. So whether that's books, activity books, or mobile games, from like VTech or those types of things, now might be the time where those things are selling well.
No, that's good. It's interesting because I have sold some of that stuff. So yeah, I can see that, man. Summer slide. I think my kids just lost 6 months of school. I do. Anyways, all right. So my Bolo is we're almost at Father's Day. I think Father's Day is June 21st. Am I off on that?
Something like that.
When Father's Day, but this could mean a couple of things. This could mean on your listings that you just change some items that would go towards the father and you just put father like in your listing, because sometimes it'll come up. It's June 21st. So there's still a little bit of time, right? Because we're dropping this on June 10th, right? Which is on Wednesday. So that means that a lot of people are going to be looking to get stuff quick, right? So if you have some quick Father's Day items in the works, like for instance, this is crazy. Somebody bought a snapback from me a week ago. And they're like, hey, I just want to make sure this is going to get to me before Father's Day. A week ago. Like, what? I'm like, dude, this is going to get to you in 3 days. But, it got there and I didn't get the nice feedback yet. So I'm kind of hurt a little bit. But listen, if you have stuff, anything that will work in a den, or you want to call it a man cave or a garage, or you also have fun dad and you have adventurous dad, or like whatever works with
or
that.
maybe reselling dad and he wants a Pure Hustle podcast shirt. Right?
Wow. Wow.
Shameless plug.
That was a shame, but that was a good plug right there. I like that one. Good job. So look for, if you have items like you're thinking, hey, this is, like let's say you don't do men's clothing and you have men's clothing sitting around. Maybe now is the time to list because maybe it'll sell. And remember, it runs a genre. Even, there's some people that are going to look for cheap gifts for their dad, right? Because usually their dad doesn't care about stuff. And so they're just going to get whatever. But there's others whose dads are collectors, right? So they're just changing one of your keywords may help. I have noticed it doesn't help as much as it used to. I remember like 4 or 5 years ago when I would do that, I would get a lot of stuff that said Father's Day on it would sell. I don't see it as much, but it's just another way, right, to kind of help you bring in more sales. And if you have shipping that's fast, Amazon is still delayed on some things. And even some things on eBay, I just ordered shipping supplies. It's not going to get to me till June 24.
Yeah, I bought a life vest because we're going to go kayaking, my wife and I, this week for our anniversary. And I have a life vest and she does too, but it's at her sister's house. And so I went on Amazon and the soonest it would get here was going to be over a week or close to a week. And eBay, it was like 3 days. So bought on eBay.
Yeah. So, hey, good for us on eBay.
Yeah.
So hey, so think about that. Think about if you have stuff that would go towards the father. I mean, one of the number one sellers for me, it's weird, for Father's Day, are snapback hats.
That makes sense.
I think just dad likes wearing, you got sports dad that likes wearing the hat, or you have dad who was in the military that, I talk about those hats all the time that they list a certain like squadron or something that somebody was a part of, and people like picking up those hats. So that's another Bolo to keep an eye, because I do sell a lot more of those just before Father's Day. So keep an eye.
Yeah.
So hopefully that was helpful to you guys. Sometimes I feel like Bolo is like I go, is it something that just works for us? And then other people go out there and they pick stuff up and they're like, maybe just Orlando and Mike have success.
The Bolo is be on the lookout. It's not like go buy this right now, or you are not a real reseller. It's just be on the lookout. Maybe you see it and do your research and do what you got to do. You do you, man.
You do you. All right. So what are you looking forward to here?
Obviously summer break, but one of the things I'm really looking forward to, I'd like to see some more thrift stores in my area open up, but I'm kind of excited to get working on my go-kart. Right? I honestly, the more I've been looking at go-karts and seeing them on OfferUp, I don't think I'm going to make as much money as I was originally hoping, but I still think I'll make a couple $100 and I'll learn something in the process on it. But I'll finally have time to work on the engine and spend some time doing that. And I haven't had that time. So you know how it is when you got something kind of hanging over your head. It's like, I got this project that I want to do, but I haven't had any time to get to it.
Do you know what you have left on the go-kart? Like what you have to do?
Yeah. I mean, I know the pieces I need, so I can get those. And then I'm debating whether or not I should just buy a new engine, because you can go to Harbor Freight and get a pretty good size engine for $100, and they're like a perfect go-kart engine. Or I could probably spend like $70 and fix the engine that's currently on there, and it's a little smaller. So it's like, okay.
Ooh, is that a hard choice for you?
Well, it's not. But the thing is, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not a hard choice. But part of me says, if I take this old engine off and buy a new one, am I going to learn anything about engines and how to fix stuff? And that way, when I see another go-kart or something where it's like, there's something wrong with the carburetor, there's something, I can go, oh yeah, I can fix that for $15, as opposed to, well, it's going to be $100 for me to buy a new engine every time, right? So I could start to learn like, okay, this problem is too much, or this problem is easy enough to fix. So that knowledge might in the long term do me good. Now, might I buy a new engine and then spend some time fixing the old one? I might do that. But then it's, again, I don't have that urgency, because, then it's just an engine sitting in my new shed as opposed to, a whole go-kart.
Interesting. So if it works out, what's the next step? Like, let's say you get it fixed, you make good money. What's the next step?
I'm thinking buying a bigger, nicer go-kart, or a pit bike or something like that. Yep.
And then is there a next step after that?
Yeah, buy a bigger, nicer one.
And then I just want to see where it goes. Like, and you're like,
I'd like to by the end, I've always wanted to have like a sand rail or like a really cool Baja Bug or something like that. And I don't know enough about those types of things to fix engines and work on that stuff. So, I might get to a point where I've made enough profit that I can buy one of those and all the parts that I need to fix them up. Or I can, just enjoy having one. I don't know. So kind of excited about that. I've also, there's a Suzuki, I think it's Suzuki, Suzuki Samurai is a cool looking vehicle that I know is kind of like Baja Bugs. People put a lot of work into and do like overland stuff. And again, that's not the world I live in, but I'd like to try it out. And if after 2 or 3 go-karts or dirt bikes, I'm like, you know what? I hate working on engines. I'll give it up, but at least I'll know.
No, and I'm inspired by your story because I really like to know where it goes. I just went to lunch with one of my good friends that I go garage selling with, and he's a guy that had the same scenario. He bought, and I've shared this before on the podcast, he bought an RC car, paid $20. He was one of the first 3, me, him, and another guy. And his first purchase was $20, and then he sold it for $300. Then he used that $300 and he bought like a go-kart or something. And then he flipped that for, I think it was like $2K. Then from that $2K, he ended up buying an old school Bronco. He fixed that Bronco up. And today I was talking to him, like, dude, you don't have the Bronco anymore. What do you have? He's like, yeah, I got a beast now. He has and he's probably listening to the podcast now. He has an F350 quad cab, which obviously he had to pay a little bit more than what the Bronco sold, but it was a legit Bronco, right? And there's collectors out there for Broncos. It was the one where you can like take off the roof, and I mean it was nice. I wish he still had the Bronco because that was a fun car. So you never know. I mean, you never know, and this may change the way you do things, or maybe you'll still keep doing the same old reselling, and then this will be like the home run every once in a while.
Yeah, side hobby or at least knowledge. Like I like knowing a little bit about everything. So at least if something goes wrong with my own vehicle or just talking with people, there's enough people that I know who are really into something. And if you know a little bit, all you really need to know is a little bit about a lot of things. And not that I'm like trying to teach people how to be charismatic, because I don't think that's something like I'm great at. Like I don't have like great charisma and I'm able to like interact with people. But you'd be surprised how many times in a, at a party or something, just knowing a little bit about something, even if it's not like, hey, I want to be able to talk about myself, but it allows you to
be the star of this party.
No, but it allows you. Well, it allows you to ask the right kinds of questions and to show the right kind of interest, and then to show like, to be impressed when they say something. You might go over your head if you're like, "Oh, you did what? With that engine, like that's amazing," and that makes you more likable, which again is better networking, and then that can help you, in so many areas. So even just I've that's how I try and justify the fact that I've had so many crazy hobbies in my life. Is I know a little bit about a lot of things, and so it makes it easier for me to interact with people, especially given that I'm naturally very, very introverted.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you? What are you looking forward to?
So
that sounded evil. What are you looking forward to?
It's not evil. It's a kind of a hesitation, like in the sense that I really feel, and I could be 100% wrong, and maybe Orlando doesn't know what he's doing, but I do feel that retail arbitrage is a trap. Like I really, the more I've done it, the more I feel that it's, out of all of them, it looks the easiest to do, but it's the hardest to do well in. I really do, because I've pulled in some ridiculous numbers, but when it comes to the net profit, like it doesn't matter. That's why I don't show, like I don't do my Amazon chart. Like I could show charts like some of the big boys out there, not like, watch me Amazon style, but some of the other guys that are, I could, but it's like, it doesn't mean anything. Like I'm still living in my condo. I don't have a Lambo because the net profit, and I wouldn't buy a Lambo ever. Okay. Not ever, but chances are fairly unlikely I would. So anyways, I'd rather get a Ferrari.
Drive up in that Lambo up to the show.
Right up to the show. Oh, yes. Thank you. Our Q4 rap. Yeah. There's a remix coming in a few months.
Is there?
There is. It's going to go remix, and then it's going to start us flowing again.
Nice.
It'll be good. Anyways, but I say all this is that I've had a good 2-3 months of eBay's been solid. Like I think I'm in a place with eBay where I know how I'm going to be able to scale now. Like it's been really good. It's been really, really, really good. And then I dipped into doing some MF with Amazon, and I shared that before, and I'm like 9 units away from selling out this huge purchase that I made, and I made a decent profit, and I'm good. So now I've had some time to reflect. Okay, I think I got Amazon MF down. I do have FBA down, but I've had a lot more success in the FBA game when it's come to non-retail arbitrage. So what I mean, it's like when I send in DVD recorders, or when I come up with a haul of new with tags, dead stock stuff, and I send it in, or like Toys R Us liquidation. Like that was, I'm still making money on that. But even then, I'm almost to the point that I've made as much money on eBay from that Toys R Us liquidation as I made on Amazon, which I never thought possible. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of traveling. And here in California, we're like on stage 2 of reopening. So a lot of our retail arbitrage we can't do. Like today, I'm going to hit a store later on today and try to do some RA. And I'm not going to go big box for that. That's one thing I'm not saying I'm not doing right now. I'll do it for Q4. But remember, big box stores are available to almost everybody, right? So I'm going to go to other stores and I'm going to see if I can find a way that I can make RA work through FBA. The other thing is, I know I'm going long-winded, but I really want to talk about RA here, and we'll have a full episode about this and maybe like why I left Amazon retail arbitrage. But I find that it's very shiny and you like it and you love buying the stuff and you see the numbers and you see people on Instagram. But sometimes I go, I've bought those same things and it's not that profitable. Like, I'm not sure how you're making all that money. So what I'm looking at is I want to see, can I make this go round now, right? I have everything. And here's the thing I'm thinking about already. I got to go pay for Inventory Lab, which is another $50-$60. I got to go do my repricer, which is going to be another $100. I got to get my scanner software. It's going to be another $10. So I'm already $160 off the gate before I even started, right? Then I got to have the poly bags, right? That's another $20-$30. You know, buy from I Love Supplies. Great stuff. We're not sponsored by them, but we're good friends with them. You got to make sure label maker. I mean, there's a lot. It's not like eBay where I go to the thrift to pick it up, go home. I don't need a light box, but I have a light box. Click, 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 list it, done, right? There's a huge process. So I'm right now I'm gonna give it one more really good try in the next 3 weeks in prep of this sale day, send stuff into FBA and see if it's gonna pan out, because I'm to the point now, like, unless it's liquidation or unless it's some random find that other people don't have access to, I don't know how much longer I want to be in the retail arbitrage game, because it's burned me. And I've liked Merchant Fulfilled because I have control over my inventory. I don't get random stuff returned to me that's thrashed. I mean, even the Merchant Fulfilled returns I just got, stuff was in good condition. I think it's because people knew it was going back to me and not going back to Amazon. So I know that was long-winded, but that's what I'm looking forward to.
Nice.
Sorry. I'm just tired of the glitz of retail arbitrage, because I think that I think it could be a trap for a lot of people.
Shiny.
It is. It's very shiny. So, all right. Anything else you want to share here?
Nope.
All right. Hey, appreciate y'all tuning in to us. Hopefully this has brought you value, or at least some kind of entertainment, or at least some background noise while you're listening.
That's right.
So with that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling. Late.